What's up, garden friends? AJ here. So, you know, around this time of the season, we're running like 50 miles an hour trying to get a lot of different projects and tasks together and accomplished. And we're always seem to be in battle with the weather, right? We're pretty much at the mercy of the weather. So yesterday, I was able to get a lot of tasks done, a lot of rose planting. I redid the front entryway. I'll show you a picture of that shortly. But today I was hoping to go ahead and continue some more tasks, particularly in this previous herb garden. Let me show you. So right over there is the previous herb garden, and I'll explain that to you guys shortly. I went ahead and topped these beds off with fresh raised bed mix and compost. I still have some cool seasoned vegetables in them. As you can see, I still got a bunch of spinach I need to come and harvest. And over here, a whole bunch of kale that I need to harvest as well. Over here in the back, I went ahead and planted a Gertrude Jekyll. So in this vegetable garden, if my intent is to create a potager style garden area, I'm gonna have to have some permanent flowers. So on either side, I have Donato lily and another lily, which I'll have to refer back to my video that I shot a lot earlier when I planted them as to what type they are. So it's gonna have permanent flowers in this bed. Then I'm working on some ranunculus, which I intend to put in front of this Gertrude Jekyll, or I'll just end up putting some of my English daisies that have sprouted and I have winter sown, and they're doing really, really well. This cabbage I'm gonna have to go ahead and pull and feed to the chickens because the weather's getting too warm and they're starting to bolt. So as I was saying earlier, this right here is my previous herb garden bed. Yeah, so it's looking like a bomb went off. So it's under renovation right now. So what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm gonna sift through some of these herbs, particularly the lavender, and salvage the good bits, incorporate them in this new design, which is gonna be more so of a rose garden. So in the back, let me show you guys. So back here, along this fence, I have an America climbing rose that was recently planted. It's got a really strong and vigorous growth habit. And seeing that I just planted it, it's already shot off. That looks like about a good 5-inch growth spurt in a matter of like 2 to 3 days, which is crazy. Turning around here, on either side of this plinth, I've placed 2 of these Lark Ascending roses from David Austin. They also have a really vigorous growth habit. And the obvious, it's inundated with weeds. So I still have a lot of chives, which I intend to come and pull out and pot up. Got some pots ready back there with a little potting soil in them. So yeah, I'm gonna salvage what I can out of this garden. I think I have some Verbena bonariensis in here that started to come back up. I don't think it's fully hardy in this zone. I'm in zone 7B. We've been reclassified down a zone or half a zone. We're in zone 7B, and this is Maryland. And so some things seemingly have overwintered. since the weather is starting to become a lot more mild. Check out this white violet right here. This is pretty much considered a weed in my garden because they multiply so heavily. They're usually purple, but that's a white one. I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, I'm gonna come in here and salvage what I can salvage. The 2 Lark Ascending roses on either side of the plinth. The climbing rose in the back. You guys can envision what I have going on here. And then in the front area, I'll put all my lavender. So that'll be a really nice look. And then maybe I can put all of the the chives on the front of this little border here. So here are the violet, the typical violet, little violet weed plants that I have. They're not bad looking. So right here you're looking at a couple of carpet roses, white carpet roses, that I went ahead and vigorously pruned back because they were getting a little too wild. And unfortunately, I kind of disturbed, I believe, some, I don't know if they were doves or what type of bird they were, but they were nesting in there. So unfortunately, I had to take them out of there. I've got some gladiolas that were planted several years ago that are coming up. Excuse the mess, guys. But this area right here, I ended up putting a bunch of violas in this bed. And here's a clematis that's gonna hopefully make use of this this little trellis. The brown turkey fig is starting to finally put on some buds. It overwintered quite well. I only had to cover it a couple times when the temps dipped below, I want to say 30 degrees, but it did pretty well. And then I since went ahead and placed a layer of black cow manure on top with a little bit of fertilizer to give it a boost. So these little arbs, they've done so well in these containers. They overwintered very well. This Lady Banks rose, I gave her a hard prune. And I can't wait to see all of these little flowers bloom within the next few weeks. All these little buds right here. They're gonna be tons and tons of little yellow buttercup type flowers. This tree ring right here is starting to come alive with all the creeping phlox. Looks really nice. Got that purple, violet, lilac type color one right here. A little pink. Some of these daffodils are on their way out. And I was really surprised and pleased that several of these tulips, I think these are Menton tulips, that I planted several years ago, have all overwintered in this area. So it must have some really good drainage down in the bottom there. The peach tree has put on some beautiful blooms. I haven't seen these blooms stay on this tree this long. Look at this. I have a bee, a bumblebee that I don't know if it's alive, but it's just kind of hanging out. Maybe it's just intoxicated, not sure. But anyhow, it's clearly enjoying these flowers on this peach tree. There's the name right here. So both of these fruit trees, the peach and the plum, I went ahead and top dressed with some black cow manure and a little fertilizer to give it a boost. I've since given it a little prune as well. So I had a lot of crossing branches. And I would really like these trees to produce some quality fruit this season. These daffodils are the last to bloom, I guess, for the season. They're a late blooming variety. Over here, all the ruby slippers, oak leaf hydrangeas are all leafing out. Very pleasing to see. Look at all of that. The larger Alice oak leaves have both leafed out as well, or at least they're on their way. This right here, this hydrangea is a sweet summer, putting out leaves or buds. Got to come in here and do some weeding. Look at that bad boy. Over here at the center garden, I still got to come in here and do a lot of raking out of the beds and weeding. But as you can see, all the Shasta daisies have all leafed out. And in the foreground, I've got a lot of creeping phlox. Looks really nice. Right above that, there's a coral bark Japanese maple. The thing is electrifying. I mean, look at that. See that beautiful red coral bark? And that contrast with these chartreuse leaves is just stunning. Over here, I've got some Shirley poppies that have already leafed out. So it'll be very exciting to see that that beautiful flower once it comes up. Over here in the cut flower garden, I decided to go ahead and put all my onions and alliums. So right here is all my garlic. Most of this bed. This part of the bed, I have red onions, which have since poked their little heads up. Back in this bed here, I need to do some weeding, but you're looking at a lot of larkspur, which I need to come in here and do some dividing, because I just sprinkle a bunch of seeds right here, and as you can see, I've got a dandelion, an advantageous dandelion that's encroaching. I've got a few poppy seeds that have since germinated. And on this L-shaped bed right here, I got all yellow onions. That have all since germinated. Clearly they're kind of antsy and they want to get out. So even though it's drizzling lightly, I'll go ahead and let the girls out. Y'all ready to come out? Yeah? Hey, Missy. You ready to come out, sweetie? All right. I tell you, these girls really do a number to this garden. Right here, I put this beautiful trellis on top of the stump. I got to go ahead and secure it. And right beside it, I got this Claire Austin that's been recently planted and caged up, which I really don't think is going to make a difference. These birds are going to be able to get in here, but just to keep most of the mulch around it. And so right here, I'll have the Claire Austin climb up this beautiful trellis. And I'm thinking of getting, I don't know, if maybe another Claire Austin to put on that side, or maybe a nice big flowering clematis to kind of intertwine with that Claire Austin. So right here, this yellow twig dogwood is putting on some flower buds. And it's starting to leaf out. See that little flower bud in there? So that's pretty exciting. So this back area, I mean, I have the chickens. I let the chickens out and they pretty much have free reign. So it doesn't look as aesthetically pleasing as it could. But just to be fair, I'm not going to blame that totally on these girls. They really do a great job of aerating the soil and just tilling it up and allowing these plants to breathe. So right here I have this Eastern Snowball Viburnum. Let's kind of back up a bit here. It's put on some substantial growth since I planted it a 1.5 to 2 years ago. It's leafing out. Looks very healthy. And I can also see some flower buds starting to form as well. See Missy over here pecking away. Hey Missy. She's underneath this Annabelle hydrangea. It's also leafing out beautifully. I still got to come back here and prune a lot of these spent flower heads. This over here is a Pink Perfection Camellia japonica. Most of the flowers are spent. But look at that flower structure. Look at that bloom structure. I mean, this flower pattern, it rivals some roses. That's how pretty it is. Just beautiful. Got some Japanese anemones that are surviving all of this scratching. and pecking. Over here, this is a Snow Queen oak leaf hydrangea. Still has some old leaves from last season right next to new season's leaves. Beautiful. But it's putting on some substantial growth as well. It's been here for, I want to say, about a good 4 years. So it's looking really nice. And over here is another coral bark Sangaku. I don't want to butcher the name. Here it is right here. Acer palmatum sangokaku. Sangokaku. Say that fast a couple times. But yeah, I just love that contrast of the coral bark with these chartreuse leaves. It's amazing. Well, I'll have to come in here and prune some of these branches off of here, because a lot of them are rubbing and touching, and that's just going to create a lot of issues in the future. You guys know I love my hydrangeas, so here's a climbing hydrangea. Hydrangea petiolaris. Just put on all of this beautiful new growth. Look at that. And on the bottom, I've got all these hellebores. Isn't that pretty? That contrast between this chartreuse colored flowers of one hellebore to these deep, dark, smoky purple blooms on this one right here. Look at that. But yeah, I forgot I was over here talking about this hydrangea, this climbing hydrangea. So it's been in this tree ring, I want to say, for about a good 3 years now. And I'm finally gonna see some blooms. So I'm really excited about that. Look at that. It took about 3 to 3.5 years for this climbing hydrangea to form some flower buds. So that's going to be really interesting to see this year. Of course, it's only a few. It still has a little more maturing to do. But excited to see that nonetheless. So my landscaper, my hardscape landscaper, I use Ed's Plant World. During the consultation, they came over and observed the work that they did. This patio right here, it's beautiful. So I love this color blend and this textured pattern that you see here. It's practically an oval shape underneath this pergola that they've installed. And as she came over and did her consultation and inspection, she told me I should come here. She told me I should come here and cut this this skirt that this climbing hydrangea has produced, because it's growing over the tree ring that they also installed. See that? So she recommended me to go ahead and trim all this off. But I tell you, I am not going to waste these cuttings. Oh, gotta get them out of there. Get out of there. See that? If you don't supervise these girls, get out of there. Go on. Go on. They tear your garden up. You got to keep a strong eye on them. So I really like them to stay behind this partition right here. So I'm gonna have to get a gate to put here. Just a temporary gate. It doesn't have to be anything complex. Maybe some cattle panel on some 2x4. Just put that there to keep them out of there. Like over here in this little bed right here with all the roll dowel roses. They always come in here and they scratch and dig up. Particularly this, I think this is a Wollerton David Austin. No, this is a, oh yeah, it's a Wollerton Old Hall climbing rose. They like to come in here and dig that up, which is why I had to put this, this barrier here, which has kept them out. But I've since pruned all of these roll dowel roses and gave them a really good fertilize early this season, and they're doing really well. They're really filling up. They're bushing out, which I really am impressed with. This right over here, which has a little black spot, I've noticed. I might have to go ahead and get some fungicide and spray that rose down. But this right here is a James Galloway. I've since given it a really nice prune and interwoven it into this this arbor, as you can see right here. So eventually I'd like for it to climb up this arbor and go up top. I think James Galloway gets between, don't quote me, but I think 10 to 12 feet long. So right here is roughly 6 feet, and then up over that portion right there. And on the other side over here, I had a Bathsheba rose that was planted right here, and I failed to treat it with that castor oil treatment, and so I have a serious vole problem in this yard, and they since dug up or chewed out the roots for that Bathsheba. So I went ahead and ordered this New Dawn, and as you can tell, it's recently planted, fertilized, freshly mulched, and I got this barrier around this New Dawn because I know how them little rascals like to get into everything. So this gets pretty tall. I think it gets to be about, I want to say between 10 to 15 feet long. So it's going to go up and over this arbor and hopefully meet with the James Galloway. So that's going to be a really beautiful sight once that all matures together. All right. And over here, which is a shorter bed, I repeated it with some roll dowel roses as well, and a whole bunch of iris. Right here, I got, what is this, a Shropshire Lad. It's another David Austin. I transplanted it from that bed that has the Star Magnolia, which you guys saw me prune last month. And it's gonna do a lot better out here because it's gonna get a lot more sun. And so eventually, as you can see, I tried to train it to go up along this fence. And I don't think this one gets to be that long, probably 7 to 10 feet tops. But I'm sure a cane or two of that New Dawn will be trained on this fence as well. And so they'll both meet at some point. And over here in this corner, I've got some more bearded iris that, as you can see, they are seriously budding up. And you can tell it's gonna be that dark purple color eventually. And right there, you can see the flowers of that beautiful hellebore. It's got that smoky purple, smoky, dusty, pinky purple color. Just holding on. These hellebores are holding on, I tell you. So my girls got into this bed and they wreaked havoc. This right here is the blue hydrangea garden. That's what I call it. It's pretty much a half circle that goes around these two beautiful Nellie Stevens hollies. As you can see the trunks underneath. Here's this beautiful caramel burgundy coral bell, or heuchera right here. Just leafed out. So yeah, they all bloom roughly the same time. I've got some serratas in the back, which I think it's Blue Waterfalls or something like that. And in the front are the Nico Blues. Let's see if I can get a little closer here. You still got a lot of work and maintenance to do, but they've all leafed out, which is fantastic. As you can see on the bottom right here, I've got this gorgeous coral bell. Kind of looks like candy, doesn't it? Freshly leafed out. See, these girls got to this clematis that I have over here. I'm gonna have to try to work it into this little trellis apparatus I have here for it. I may have to end up putting some chicken wire or something around it to protect it so that it can mature and finally make its way up this little trellis right here and wrap around this James Galloway. It'll be a nice contrast eventually. I already forgot what type of clematis that is and what color bloom it has. Right here, I've got some epimedium that these chickens have pretty much got it tattered up, but you can see some of the blooms on these epimediums. They're kind of tattered as well. None of them are fully intact, but it's really neat to see them put on some blooms. So over here in this U-shaped bed, I kind of overwintered some of these irises that I got from Shriners Gardens. This one here is Blue Trill. This one here is Ultimate Explosion. So you can kind of see the theme I had going on. This one here is Feel the Thunder. I love the names. They all have that blue tint to them. This one right here is called, let's go around the other side. These right here are hollyhocks that are self-seeded. I'm gonna have to treat them for rust, because the larger they get, the more they get rust. And I'm gonna transplant them out of this bed. This one right here is Honeycomb. It's a beautiful golden color. So I think when you get like 4, they give you a bonus one. So this was the bonus. And last but not least, this one over here. I love this name. It's called Redneck Girl. But that coloring is stunning. So these will all get transplanted as well. I'm not sure where I'll put them yet. Other than that, I've got these iris down here, which those 5 iris that I was showing you guys earlier in the U-shaped bed, I think I'll go ahead and put them over here. Open areas right here, I can put some. And over here, I tend to have a lot of Verbena bonariensis, the short kind, like the meteor shower. Here's some of the new growth right here, which I'm going to transplant and just make this area all bearded iris. This right here is a small, I think it's called a Puxter Blue butterfly bush. I'm going to go ahead and transplant that and put that in the front of the house. And really get in here and do some weeding, because right here I have all these Coreopsis nanas, which are getting overwhelmed by all of these weeds. So many garden tasks to tackle right now. So I really gotta get busy. So enough yapping, and let's get busy. So over here, adjacent to that small bed with the roll doll roses, I continued this border right here. I bumped it out. So I got all that border material right here. So I got to clean all that up, get all these weeds up, and just keep refining. I mean, you know, that's all you can do. Some more recent roses that I've transplanted. That right there is an America rose. It's America climbing rose, which I just planted and mulched up. And over here, believe it or not, I had put out a video several years ago where, you know, I had put up this this trellis structure using, you know, cattle panel fencing, and I had planted 2, I think these were called, I think it's called Blaze. And through all of the leaves and the brush that I had over here, this is kind of overgrown, guys. It's actually looking a lot better, believe it or not. This rose was still here, but it was just buried. And what ended up happening was the voles in my yard love to attack the roses. So they chewed the roots from this blaze climber to a nub. And I had to, once I discovered it, I replanted it, treated it with that castor oil solution. So they all have been treated with castor oil solution. This right here, I believe, is a hot chocolate shrub rose right here. And then I've got some sedum over here in the foreground. They have yet to all come up. And over here, I've got 3 Amsomias. This one right here, 2 and 3. Let's check and see if there's any new growth. Okay. So that's reassuring. It's got some new growth right here. Here we go, we got some new growth. So that's reassuring. So the point is, if those in the back have overwintered with all of that pressure from the chickens scratching and whatnot, I'm not really worried about these right here. So that's got some new growth as well. So above it is this summer wine. Oh, I think this is a ginger wine, 9 bark. And over here amongst the weeds, I've got a whole bunch of Black Eye Susan, which I need to come in here and divide and evenly distribute them and transplant them to other areas of the yard. All right, guys, I want to thank you for hanging out with me on this mini tour, this mini spring tour of my garden. Like I said, there's a lot of work to be done, so, you know, everything pretty much looks like a bomb went off. All right, but we've got steady progress, and I just got to do this day by day, you know. So I'm not gonna obviously have the entire garden looking perfect or close to perfect anytime soon. So it's just gonna be a work in progress, and I'm gonna stay on top of it. So let me stop yapping and get out here and do some work. Until next time, this is AJ's Green Thumb.